Great White Hot Sauce. It's a small batch, handmade hot sauce, made specially for you. So if you like hot sauce, you'll love Great White Hot Sauce. It's the hot sauce that bites back. Find it at www.trygreatwhite.com. Well, it's that time of year again. The most wonderful time of the year. No, not Christmas. St. Patrick's Day. You know, the day when everybody in the world is Irish and all the Irish eyes are smiling. And on this episode, we're going to talk about our favorite St. Patrick's Day songs. So as the song says, get out your seat and jump around. Just don't... What? What on Eileen? I can't say that. No.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. All engine running. Liftoff. We have a liftoff.
The KOFB studio presents Milk Crates and Turntables, a music discussion podcast hosted by Scott McLean with his co-host Jack Calabrese. Now, let's talk music. Enjoy the show.
Welcome to the podcast. Thank you, Amanda, for that wonderful introduction as usual. Amanda is actually, she's coming up here soon, but we'll get to that. All right. Like I said, welcome to the podcast. We're streaming live over YouTube and Facebook right now. If you want to find us on YouTube and look at past shows and subscribe if you'd like. It's Milk Crates and Turntables channel. If you want to reach us, you can contact us at milkcratesandturntables@gmail.com. Jack's proud of me right now. I didn't stumble through that. I actually said it right. I usually mess that up. Too many syllables. Anyways. Yeah. So this episode, this week, we're talking it's St. Patrick's Day tomorrow. We're recording this on March 16th. So this episode will be dedicated to our favorite St. Patrick's Day songs. And it should be interesting. I have mine. Jack has his. I'm sure there's some crossovers. So, without further ado, let me bring on my co-host, who I give an Irish passport to once a year, Mr. Jackie O'Calabrese.
Hey, Scotty, how are you, man? How you doing?
Jackie O, did I tell you lately that I love you?
I love you too, Scotty boy. So, how are you going to be spending St. Patrick's Day?
Cooking. I'm going to be cooking my corned beef and cabbage my way, which consists of, real quick, I soak the corned beefs because I have to cook 2 of them because they're some nice briskets because that stuff goes fast here. So I soak them in apple juice in about, so it's probably like a bottle and a half of apple juice. And then I throw in like about a cup apple cider vinegar. I let that soak. And then I put them in the pressure cooker with the juice and all. You have to top it off because the corned beefs have to float. And you put it in the pressure cooker for about an hour. And when it's done and decompresses, you take them out and you take all your veggies. Your potatoes, your carrots, your onions. Some people put yam in there. And your cabbage, you put it back in amongst those juices. Then you pressure cook it for 8 minutes. And I'll tell you what, man, you can cut that corned beef with a spoon. Yeah. It's good.
So do you make a gravy, or do you use mustard, or do you use Cane's mayonnaise or a little Miracle Whip?
This time of year, buddy, it's all French's yellow mustard.
French's yellow mustard.
That's it. I love that. I put it on it. First, I put butter on everything. Then I put the French's yellow mustard over everything. And like my grandmother, God rest her soul, Lily Quinn McLean. Lily Quinn with the hairy chin. she'd always say, corned beef and cabbage makes an Irishman savage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I know you're not a big drinker or anything. Non-alcoholic beer. Is there such a thing as a non-alcoholic Guinness?
Well, actually, Heineken makes a really good. St. Pauli Girls makes a really good NA beer. You have Buckler. I think that's made by Heineken. I'm pretty much a non-alcoholic beer connoisseur. I started off at the lowest levels, the dregs of non-alcoholic beers, O'Doul's.
Ooh.
Yeah. But then I got classy with the O'Doul. See, I'm a classy Irishman.
Yeah,
I put a lime in it. I put a lime in the bottle like it's a Corona.
O'Doul's. They should call that O'Stools because it tastes like. So do you crave the taste of a non-alcoholic beer every now and again, or is it a special occasion thing?
Not as much as I used to. Like when my buddies would have our military reunion, and you'd always want to have that prop. And I'll tell you what, like St. Pauli Girls NA is actually it's a good flavor. It tastes real, but not much anymore. Not much anymore. Yeah.
It's funny. As I've gotten older, I lost my taste for beer. I like a Corona once in a while, or every now and again, if I'm at a wedding or Santarpio's in East Boston, I have to have a Heineken.
Right.
But if I drink more than 10 or 12 beers a year, it's a lot. I'm not a big beer drinker.
Do you cook an Irish meal on St. Patrick's Day? Jackie O'Calabrese.
So I have to admit, you know what my plans for dinner are tomorrow?
Let me guess. Something like bolognese, and rigatoni, and I don't know what.
I'm going to the north. I'm going to the North End for dinner.
That's the Italian section of Boston for the podcast listeners.
It is. It wasn't intentional. It just kind of
have a potato. Get a potato. Get a potato. Get a potato on the side.
But look, I have an appreciation for corned beef and cabbage.
It's good.
Especially, there's a neighbor of mine that here in on the Florence Street neighborhood hood, they do a St. Patrick's Day party. I don't know I think they have it planned for this weekend, and he does a couple of corned beefs, and he actually cooks one on the grill after he boils it. It has a beautiful crust on it. Absolutely delicious.
There's multiple ways to do that. I've cooked them in a New Wave oven. As you know, I love my New Wave oven. And I've cooked corned beefs in that. They come out really well. It gives you that, that texture, like you said, that kind of crispiness on the outside. But the pressure cooker and apple juice just gives it such a good flavor. You break up the peppercorn, pour it in there too for flavoring, and just can't beat it.
And what about the missus? Does she have an appreciation for this culinary delight?
Absolutely loves it. Like, can't wait. I actually cook it multiple times a year. She's like, can you get a corned beef? Can we get corned beef? So she loves it. And for the podcast, listen, my wife's from the Philippines. She's been here since '93, but and so the vegetables and stuff. But she absolutely loves it. So do my kids.
Is there a corned beef version of the Luther?
I tried one year. It's a disaster.
What do you mean? It falls apart, or
it's just not really. You can't really put a boiled dinner, as we call it. The Irish call it a boiled dinner, between two pieces of bread. It's too soggy. It's just too soggy. But there is the morning after for the Irish that know. My father, he grew up. They called it the bubble and squeak. The bubble and squeak, where you put the corned beef and all the vegetables in a frying pan, and you kind of heat it up that way. And as everything starts to get hot, it literally does have a bubble and squeak sound to it as it cooks. So you get the bubble and squeak. Listen, us Irish, we're not allowed to have glamorous meals in our back in our day, back in the day. They really weren't. They had
look at-
to.
So you have to assume that when you consider that corned beef and cabbage is the the culinary pillar, the culinary pinnacle of Irish cooking.
Well, I mean, I'm
But
sure.
I like
there's-
I like
it's
a
the
good
most popular meal. You got
I like a
shepherd's pie.
I like shepherd's pie. Do you like shepherd's pie or do you like cottage pie?
Shepherd's pie. I just go with the shepherd's pie. I don't think I've ever had cottage pie. What's cottage pie? I'm
So
not going
if-
to
if you-
pretend to know.
So if you actually want to get technical, shepherd's pie is actually made with lamb. Cottage pie is made with ground beef.
I got you.
So not a big difference. And that
Well,
we have friends from Ireland, and one of the things that they criticize American cooking, the bastardized version of shepherd's or cottage pie, is that it's cooked relatively dry. Where in Ireland, and actually in England, and all other places in Europe, it comes with a pretty hearty gravy. That's in it.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
the ground beef or the ground lamb is in a sauce.
where I used to live down in Hollywood, Florida, there's a place that was probably about 15 minutes from my house called The Field, and it's one of those really, it's like you walked into an Irish bar in Boston. It's dark, it's cool, it's got like great shit on the wall and shelves, and they serve a shepherd's pie there. That's the real deal.
Yeah,
It's
good
really
deal,
good.
man.
Yeah.
Well, it sounds like you have. Don't forget, you have to save room. Don't you have to eat something special tomorrow night?
I do on my other live stream. Yeah, I'm eating a Spam and Miracle Whip sandwich on white bread.
So I
It's gonna be brutal.
I
But I said I
have to.
would.
Yeah, I just have to lob just a wee bit of criticism on that
Hey,
one.
listen, after last week, my friend, I brutalized you because my brother told me to. You're more than welcome to lob it back.
No, my only comment about you live streaming with your king of Facebook and the king whoever he is, eating a Spam sandwich with Miracle Whip on white bread is not that fucking far of a stretch for you, man.
No, it's not. I've actually eaten I've eaten. I think at one show I did 4, like the mashed potato spoons that the serving spoons. I did 4 of those full of mayonnaise. It was almost a half a jar of mayonnaise. Another time I covered a hot dog in probably, I don't know, 2 cups of ketchup. on a nice white roll.
You look at you're passing this off as some type of a dare. For you, this is breakfast. This is lunch. This isn't much of a stretch. Now, listen. If it were me doing that, that's a bit more of a challenge.
Yeah. And the funny thing is, my blood work is perfect. It's literally perfect. My wife's a nurse practitioner, and she can't believe that my cholesterol is both good and bad, perfect. Every level is perfect. She's like, it's got to be the Celtic / Viking blood.
Yeah, but you know what?
Through my veins.
You're absolutely right. A lot of it has to do with your lineage, your heritage, your family history.
Yeah. So, good stuff. Hey, before we start the show, I have a special thing I want to put up here, and I'm glad we got some viewers. This is
not more hot sauce bullshit.
No. This is.
By the way, is there any room in the corned beef and cabbage for great white hot sauce?
No. I do not. I don't violate the sanctity of the corned beef and cabbage meal. I don't deviate. No. So Amanda, who does our introductions, happens to be my lovely, talented, beautiful, and intelligent young lady. Recorded this when she was 16. right here in the KOFB studio. And I told her I was going to play this tonight, and she just like melted, like, no. So when she was 16, she's 18 now, I had her record a version of Danny Boy. Yeah, she has a very, it's not you. No.
I'm sorry.
So I am going to, I'm going to play this. It's not her playing the piano. This was her music teacher sent her the MP3 of her playing the piano. So we pulled it up on the screen here at the KOFB studio, and I just let her rip. Said, here we go. I set up all the sounds for all the levels, and well, here we go. Let's give it a go. Here's Amanda, our announcer.
This one goes out to you, Mark Flynn, and your
There you
dad.
go. Here we go.
Oh, Danny boy, the pipes are calling from glen to glen and down the mountainside. The summer's gone and all the flowers are falling. It's you, must go and I must bide. But come ye back when summer's in the meadow, or when the valley's hushed with white and snow, and I'll be here in sunshine or in shadow. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so. But when ye come and all the flowers are dying, and I'll be dead as dead I well may be, you'll come and find the place where I've been lying, and kneel and say an Ave there for me. And I will hear the soft dew tread above me, and in my grave the warmer, sweeter be. For you will bend and tell me that you love me, and I shall sleep in peace until you come to me. Oh, Danny boy, I love you so.
That shit wrecks me. I almost started crying.
As it should. Beautiful job. Wonderful voice. Does she still sing?
Yeah. She's in West Boca High School has they have a chorus, but then they have this thing called Bella Voce, which is a competitive group, and they continuously. She's a senior now, so they go to the state championships every year. Yeah, they are very well coached, and she has a great voice, and she walks around the house singing and all the time, singing. You know, and so when kids, you can't get better than kids that love animals and music.
Yeah.
Right? You know you're going to have a good kid if that's the case.
She did a beautiful job.
Yeah,
Beautiful
16
job.
she was when she did that. That's not bad. And it was on short notice, too. So, yeah. So, Thank you, Amanda, for that wonderful rendition of Danny Boy. You
Lovely job.
tear my heart out every time I hear it.
See that? You come across as a big tough guy. You're a big softy.
Oh,
You're
I'm
a
a
big-
good I'm a good daddy, daughter daddy. I'm a really, really good daughter daddy. Yeah,
You're a big lump of
I am.
boiled potatoes.
So, on with the show. Now let's get to another announcement here. So, we spoke on this about four episodes ago. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, right? And we had questioned why Dolly Parton. We actually had mentioned her specifically. Why
Sure.
Dolly Parton hasn't been nominated, hasn't been put into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Well, as it would go, she sent out a blast letter, publicated letter recently, the other day, and it states, Dolly here, even though I am extremely flattered and grateful to be nominated for the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, I don't feel that I have earned that right. I really do not want votes to be split because of me, so I must respectfully bow out. I do hope that the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame will understand and be willing to consider me again if I'm ever worthy. This was, however, inspired me to put out a hopefully great rock and roll album at some point in the future, which I have always wanted to do. My husband is a total rock and roll freak and has always encouraged me to do one. I wish all the nominees good luck, and thank you again for the compliment. Rock on. What is your take on that? What do you get of that? What do you take away from that?
You know what? I think that, to the degree that I know what I know about Dolly Parton, I wouldn't be surprised if it's just complete sincerity on her part. She probably feels that way. Maybe she kind of fears the rejection part of it. Being nominated and actually being inducted are two different things. Although I have to say, I thought she was kind of a shoo-in.
I have a different take on it.
Do you think that?
What's that?
Do you think that this is a publicity stunt?
Nope. No, not
Do
her.
you think that?
She
Do you
doesn't
think
need
this
it.
is? Do you
She's
think
a
this is a
legend.
way for? Did you think this is a way for her to actually get the nod?
Nope. This, when you look at it, she's a purist. She's totally content being in the Country Music Hall of Fame. And she specifically says, I haven't earned it. I haven't done a rock and roll album. Because the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, as you and I have discussed numerous times and will in the future discuss more frequently, is just the Music Hall of Fame now. That's all it is. It's the Music Hall of Fame. The rock and roll part of it left 20 years ago, right? Country Music Hall of Fame does not induct anybody but country music stars. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has decided to capitalize on its popularity, monetize on its popularity, and totally disregard the rock and roll aspect of its name. Dolly Parton said, basically, I'm not rock and roll. Like, I appreciate it, but I'm not a rock and roll person. I don't belong there.
Yeah, but there are other people that have come before her that are not really rock and roll that have
but
been inducted.
they don't speak on that. They take it. They're like, yeah, I'll go. Sure, I'll go. But she's like, I don't deserve it. I'm not worthy of the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame because that's what it's supposed to be.
Yeah, I admire her stance. I mean, if that's how she honestly feels, good for her.
Yeah, and she would be a shoo-in. No doubt she would be a shoo-in. But she doesn't need the publicity. She doesn't need the, I want to see if I can amp up some votes by doing this. She really, Dolly, listen, she's a legend. She's a legend, that woman.
No
have
question.
you ever met anybody, have you ever met anybody that said, oh, I can't stand Dolly Parton?
Not that I can recall.
No. Have you ever seen anybody write anything bad about Dolly Parton? No.
Not that I can recall.
The woman is straight up genuine, because you would have heard by now if she was like an Ellen DeGeneres.
Yeah.
You would have heard by now. She's been around a lot longer than Ellen was. And Dolly Parton is just like, she's Dolly.
So when you say, I mean, I'm not knowledgeable about such things. Why are you mentioning Ellen DeGeneres? Is she not a nice person?
No. She had this persona of being sweet and gentle and kind. And she would always say, be kind to others at the end of her shows. Backstage, she was the Wicked Witch of the West on fucking steroids.
Yeah.
She treated the cast and crew, or the crew, like shit. She was demanding. She was moody. She was bossy. She was like the total opposite of what she was portraying on TV. And it broke about, 5 years ago. That's why she just kind of disappeared. She had the #1 show, daytime show on television.
Is it not on anymore?
No, I don't think so. She got canceled by the people that she supported. So
yeah. Look. I think there's a difference. If you have somebody that's absolutely driven and really, aspires for perfection and drives their people, that's fine. But if you're abusive, not appreciative of the people that are, putting you where you are or helped you get to where you are, or they're responsible for the quality of what you're putting out there, you should treat people with the same dignity and respect.
Especially if you're making I don't know what she was doing, like $1 million a show or some crazy shit like that. I mean, just be kind. Like she said, but that's the thing. She would say that and then turn around when the cameras were off and be a horror show. And then she came back and made some sort of half-assed apology like they always do. It didn't work. No, she got canceled by the cancel culture. So,
well, you know what makes me happy is that, as was evident last week, you don't do such things. You don't have this kind, lovey-dovey persona on camera, and then you're mean off the air. You're one onerous prick right on camera. And you know what, Scott? Here's to you. You goddamn son of a bitch. No surprises here.
No surprises, buddy. Why would I change for you? You'd know it right off the bat. If anybody
Yes,
would know,
I would.
You would call me out immediately. All right.
It's at some point, and we don't have to talk about this right now, but I do need to call you out on this disdain that you have for Bob Dylan. I don't get it.
We'll get to that another show. We'll get to that. Well, I think next week we might have I don't know. We got to figure out your schedule and if we have to do a side project, a non-live stream podcast, but that we could bring that up. Well, next episode we could have like I call a mixtape kind of. Because I have some other things that I accumulate these observations throughout the days, and I started writing them down for those specific, and they're usually conversation starters, opinion, open-ended questions. So we'll get to that. But this episode, we finally get to, is our favorite St. Patty's Day songs, okay? So I think I have a list, and you have a list, and let's see where it takes us. And I'm sure we have maybe some of the same songs, and I'm sure we have some very different songs and takes on songs. So let me start off with saying by throwing this one out there. Probably one of my favorite one-hit. Well, this might be my number 2 favorite one-hit wonder of all time. And it's a can't go wrong song on St. Patrick's Day. Come on, Eileen. Dexy's Midnight Runners. You just can't go wrong with that song, buddy. It's still to this day. What was it, 40 years ago? That song came out.
Is it 80, 82, 83, somewhere in there?
Around? Yeah. And that song still, you play that on St. Patrick's Day, people still like it. You might turn it off when you're alone in the car, but you play it in a crowd, people still like it.
Yeah. Well, I have to tell you, I agree with you. Great song. Certainly great back in the day. Always got people up and, just a happy-go-lucky, great song. Yeah, little different for its time,
Yep.
Especially in the age of synthesizers and, Men Without Hats and Flock of Seagulls
Yeah, yeah.
Depeche Mode and whatnot. They came up with something that, at least on the surface, appeared truly original. One of the interesting things, so, in the mornings when the weather is good, I like to throw my headphones on and just walk. And last year, and I think we may have actually even discussed this on the show once or twice. Well, last year, I was just looking to explore a little bit. Have you ever listened to that album, like the entire album, from start to finish?
I can't say that I've ever listened to the entire album. I know it's not that good. It's not a really good album.
There's a good version of Jackie Wilson Says, the Van Morrison song on there, which was, I think it may have been the follow-up single to Come On Eileen. But aside from that, that's a tough listen, man.
Yeah.
There's a reason why that band is a one-hit wonder.
Yeah, that's probably why I never listened to the whole thing all the way through. Did you know there was actually no Eileen? A lot of people thought Kevin Rowland, the lead singer, that was written about a girl that he grew up with and he had sexual relations with, maybe. And I'm gonna read this so I don't screw it up. They say, in fact, Eileen was a composite to make a point about Catholic repression, right? And Catholic repression is basically that Catholic guilt, right?
Yeah.
Felt by Catholics and lapsed Catholics. I am a lapsed Catholic. And he's non-practicing, but still say that I'm allowed to say that I'm Catholic. There's a whole canon behind that, that I don't want to get into. But, yeah.
But
there's no real Eileen.
So the only piece of trivia that I know about Come On Eileen, and maybe even Dexy's Midnight Runners, is if you ever have the opportunity to watch the video for Come On Eileen.
The girl's hot. The blonde is hot.
All right. One of the things that you'll notice is at the beginning and even the middle of the song, you have all of Dexy's Midnight Runners doing their thing. Yeah. And in the latter couple of minutes, couple of seconds, whatever it is in that video, the drummer's gone. So the story behind it is, and I'm not sure what prompted this, but the drummer was literally fired during the middle of the video shoot.
I don't think he had a big role in the band anyways.
Yeah. And hey, the other thing about Dexy's Midnight Runners, I mean, you kind of get trapped in your persona. I mean, like, how do you come out with another album of Dexy's Midnight Runners and not wear the overalls with one of the straps hanging down? I mean, it's like going to see AC/DC and him coming out in,
in jeans and in a leather jacket.
Yeah.
Not the schoolboy outfit. Yeah.
Yeah. You'd be, I mean, look, after a little while, just because he's so incredibly talented, you'd more than likely forgive him. But you would absolutely be disappointed. Like, where's the schoolboy outfit? Where's if you went and saw Slash in Guns N' Roses and he was wearing a fucking baseball cap, you'd be like,
call. Yeah.
Yeah, like, come on, what are you doing? Especially now. Hey, Guns N' Roses, I paid $345 to sit here in the nosebleed sections. Put that fucking hat on right now.
Although I believe I have seen pictures of Slash with a baseball hat on backwards. I think I have seen that, but that's probably not playing on stage. Yeah,
that wouldn't be so. Slash, hey, Saul, put your goddamn top hat on. Not only for the money that you charge us, I want you to pull a fucking rabbit out of the goddamn thing.
Yeah,
but right. Short-lived band. I know that Kevin Rowland, who is the lead singer and the principal songwriter for Dexy's Midnight Runners, tried to make a go of it. He tried to change up his sound and tried to change the personnel, but he was kind of trapped by his own success. And no doubt, I mean,
syndrome. The Gilligan syndrome.
Who knows what the number is? I'm sure that Kevin Rowland has made a fortune off of that song.
I used to love watching the show VH1's Where Are They Now? And they actually did a segment on Kevin Rowland. And he owned a haberdashery, a hat shop. Very eclectic hats. And he was wearing a skirt. Like he was very fashionable. It had nothing to do with his, I just think he liked the fashion and the style, but yeah, I don't think the haberdashery lasted. So it was a nice try.
That must have been like a running thing. I wasn't aware that he had a haberdashery, but made hats and whatnot. But I remember that the lead singer of the Fix did the exact same thing. So I just jumped on my my phone here. As of 2021, Kevin Rowland is worth $5 million.
Good for him.
Yeah, hey.
The song sticks. It sticks especially this time of year. So the people that own the family, I think Bing Crosby's family. No, what is it? Baby, It's Cold Outside, right? Whoever wrote that, I forget who wrote that. They said every Christmas that's just a gold rush. The money comes pouring in for everybody that's playing it. They get a piece of everything. Same thing with Come On Eileen on St. Patrick's Day.
I wonder what the drummer's net worth is.
I don't know. He's probably hanging out with what is it, Kevin Knopfler? What's his name?
David Knopfler.
David Knopfler. They hang out together.
Myron Knopfler.
All right, give me a St. Patrick's Day song.
So I'm not exactly sure where to start, but I think that for me, St. Patrick's Day is all about the Pogues.
Yeah,
one of my favorite bands. Great kind of punky Irish band, and you can
Sex Pistols with violins.
You can and penny whistles and dulcimers and
that's what they were.
Banjos and whatnot. But this song, If I Should Fall from Grace of God, is just a rockin' tune and just a staple. And I have a list of Pogue songs because they comprise a good chunk of my St. Patrick's Day mix.
No doubt. No, and that's fine. I have one on my list that I'll get to. But we really dug into the Pogues last St. Patrick's Day episode. If people want to go back and listen to it, it's a good episode.
We did?
Yeah, we went deep on the Pogues. Yeah. Remember we were arguing. I said he's Irish, you said he's English, and
he was born in Ireland, but the band formed in England.
Yes.
Yeah. I'll tell you, with the passage of time, that's one of the, the sad things. I mean, Shane MacGowan, the lead singer and principal songwriter of the Pogues, abused his body.
Brilliant
writer. Right.
Great lyricist.
Abused his body with drugs and alcohol so much that he can barely speak. He's confined to a wheelchair, and it's really kind of a sad thing that those guys are not really around anymore. I think that there's some remnants of the band that kind of do like Spider Stacy's, Irish Pogues, blah, 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 pays tributes to the Pogues or whatnot. But damn shame.
You know who's good friends with Shane MacGowan? Hangs out with Johnny Depp.
Yep.
Yeah,
he does.
Very good friends with him.
There's a
documentary.
That documentary is out, and Johnny Depp is in it quite a bit.
Yeah. So I'm going to go, okay, you see the shirt, right? House of Pain. And as I've said in the past, Jump Around is the all-time greatest one-hit wonder, bar none. There's no song around that beats that as a one-hit wonder. There's a lot of runner-ups, but that song is played at stadiums. It's played in arenas. It's played at parties. It's played at bars. It's played at college football games. There is not a sporting event that I don't think they don't play Jump Around at one point in time or another. It's just an iconic one-hit wonder. But that is a great St. Patrick's Day song. But I'm a House of Pain fan. The first album is a classic album, fine malt lyrics. It's their debut album. This is the song that I play on St. Patrick's Day. It's called Top of the Morning Tea, and I'm gonna play the beginning of it. All right? Let's see if this works.
It won't come just when you want it. I'm Irish, but I'm not a leprechaun. You wanna fight, then step up and we'll get it on. You get a right to the grill. I'm white and I ill, a descendant of dog.
I'm going to talk on this minute, so we don't get pulled down.
Trying to talk shit, man, please don't make me laugh. These Irish eyes are smiling, I'm buck wildin'. The house of pain is pumping, start jumping. Freak it,
This is a great rap album.
If you can't get with it, you end up sweating it. Then you get a beating just like an egg. It's so hard to run when you got a broken leg. But we can never run off, the house of pain will come off. We got the cake that you're trying to get a crumb off. The Irish style, the Celtic jazz. No one has it, just us that's it. If you try to take it, I gotta be shillelagh. I don't have dreads cause I shave my head daily.
It's not for everybody.
Call you a pinhead. Yo, where you been, man? Just like the Tin Man, you got no heart. Here comes the good part, I pick 'em, lock 'em, cut 'em up and buck 'em down. No fucking around. Homeboy, you get clown like Krusty. Trust me, you shouldn't play. And by the way, top of the morning to you.
That's a jam. That is a St. Patrick's Day jam right there.
I would venture to guess that there's a good part of our audience that has never heard that song.
Probably not because they haven't had the
And
album.
I'm-
It wasn't
Hey,
on
I'm-
the. It wasn't released as a single, but on that album, there's a lot of heavy Irish reference in most of their songs. But that one, I just
They're not an Irish
just
band,
dig
though,
them.
right? They're an Irish American band. Are they
yeah,
American?
no, they're not from Ireland. No.
Yeah, but he definitely has kind of a little broginess to the way that he sings.
Everlast is from New York. He moved from New York to L.A. He was in Ice-T's kind of gang, the Rhyme Syndicate. He used to have like suits, and he had his hair like long hair, and he had a good flow. But he was a white guy ahead of his time, and he didn't really make it. He left Rhyme Syndicate, went back to New York, got with Danny Boy O'Connor and DJ Lethal, who went on to play with Limp Bizkit, and shaved his head, and they just adopted their Irish roots and incorporated it into rap, and it became rap history. They're an iconic hip hop band, known. They had, I think they came out with 3 albums. I liked the second album really, really well. It didn't get a good reception, but then again, neither did Paul's Boutique when the Beastie Boys released that. But
it's true. Some people, it takes a while for people to get that stuff.
to catch on, yeah. So, eventually, I mean, you want to talk about making money off a song. This dude, he's banking on that song.
Yeah,
So,
I'm not sure that I can give you an alternative. I'm not sure that I agree that it's the greatest one-hit wonder of all time.
it is.
It is not.
It's the prove me wrong.
I don't know, man.
statement.
I'm gonna have to put a little thought into that one. I
right.
think that there are
Oh,
other
absolutely.
one-hit wonders that are probably far better known. And don't get me wrong, I love that song, and I actually really have an appreciation for Everlast. I even like some of his solo stuff. Whitey Ford sings the
Ford
blues.
sings the blues. Yeah.
Yeah, great stuff.
They talk about changing it up. You know what I mean? He went, and then they went and they kind of formed again. Him and Danny Boy got together and they formed La Coca Nostra. DJ Lethal was off with Limp Bizkit, and I think he popped in every once in a while, but they never really. I think recently they reformed as House of Pain, and they tour, Europe and stuff like that. Still get giant crowds. He doesn't shave his head; he's got the white hair now. Like Fred Durst, they all got white hair now, don't they? So yeah,
Not
that's
us.
my song.
Not us. No white hair on us, brother.
Well, can't prove it, except my chin.
Clean,
Except my
clean as a
chin.
whistle, brother. Clean as a whistle. So yeah, you know what? It's one of the things that was kind of interesting to me as I started to think about, coming up with a list, is that there are Irish bands that don't necessarily play traditional Irish music, and there are certainly bands that are not Irish that do have more of a kind of an Irish sound to them. And the Waterboys, even though there may be Irish members in there, it's technically
Welsh.
a Scottish band, right?
Yeah.
Welsh band, right?
Yeah, yeah.
But I have to say, you can take your pick. But for me, Fisherman's Blues
Bingo.
is
Great
an
album.
absolute. It's an
The
absolute.
whole album is great.
Yeah, absolute essential to play on
Yeah.
St. Patrick's Day. At the very least, the song,
Yeah.
right? Fisherman's Blues, and then you can kind of go deeper into their catalog. A Man Is in Love just has that great kind of Gaelic sound to it.
Yeah.
With the fiddle and the penny whistle and Hole of the Moon, amongst a lot of other great tunes that they have. Underrated band, dreadfully, and definitely a band that is played, at least at my house, in and around St. Patrick's Day.
Yeah, I mean, the Waterboys, if you go from their first album, This Is the Sea, well, it's not their first album, that was their breakthrough album, and then you go to Fisherman's Feast, two totally different sounds.
Yeah.
Two totally different sounds. Mike Scott just took them in a whole nother direction, and Fisherman's Blues is more of a, it's more of a Celtic sound, whereas...
Yeah, it has more of a traditional...
This Is the Sea was a wall of sound.
Yeah.
That whole album, just big sound. And they were good at it. Mike Scott's a very talented guy. One of the bands that I wished I had gotten to see, and maybe he tours again, I would just go see him, No,
he tours with a new incarnation of the Waterboys.
Yeah, and that's fine.
He does. They were around New England last year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
so as a matter of fact, apologies for cutting you off.
Right.
They actually just put out a new record in the last year.
Okay.
So they're still recording material.
Good. Mike Scott's a talented dude.
Yeah.
Talented.
So
again,
hey,
underrated, one.
So Bob Doucette says that the greatest one-hit wonder is 8675309.
You don't hear that being played in stadiums.
No, you don't.
You don't hear that pumping the crowd up.
Yeah. So hey, back to the point that I made. I'm curious what your perspective is on this. Again, there are plenty of bands out there that have an Irish sound or a Celtic sound that aren't, necessarily purely Irish. And on the other side of it, there are Irish bands that don't necessarily play traditional Irish music. And I think one of those bands, at least to a certain degree, is U2.
Yeah.
I think that their sound, there are elements that kind of show themselves here or there, but U2 doesn't necessarily play Irish music. Do you agree with that statement?
I agree 100%, and I'm going to reference them. Actually, let me reference them now. So one of the songs that they don't. U2 is Irish. They're known to be Irish, but they don't sing much about Ireland. Okay, they reference it, but they don't. It's not like it's carried a lot in their songs. Like Where the Streets Have No Name. It's basically about Belfast, right? It's Belfast. In the street addresses in Belfast, Bono learned that it says what status you are in the community, religion and status by the street addresses. That's where he came up with Where the Streets Have No Names, kind of a fantasy world where none of these streets existed and everybody was just everybody. Your address didn't say you're standing in society, which is what it did. Maybe it's changed since then, but when he wrote that song, that's what he wrote it about.
I don't I don't know how you can say that U2 doesn't sing about Ireland. Sunday Bloody Sunday.
This is
Bad.
a rebel song. So what? That's one. How many albums do they have?
What do they have? Probably like 12, 14 albums.
Yeah. So okay, Sunday Bloody Sunday. Okay, great.
Hey,
great.
hey.
Here we go.
Take it down a notch. I can feel your blood pressure going up. Look, this outburst that you're about to embark on is probably in direct correlation to the amount of sodium that you're taking in around this time of the year. So just take a breath, brother.
No,
it's good. It's all good.
Give me some other songs.
Don't go all Ellen DeGeneres on me.
Oh, okay. All right.
What about Bad?
Explain it to me.
Well, isn't Bad about the
badass drug,
problem,
right?
Heroin problem in Ireland, the Seven
in
Towers.
I mean,
no.
So you're saying that heroin is exclusive to Ireland?
No. But I think that song has a lot of Irish references in it.
Example.
Look. I think that if you go through U2's catalog, you'll find that there are probably more references to Ireland than you think. That's all I'm saying. Don't
think
get fucking mad. Just calm down.
Whoa.
Even the last two albums that they put out were semi autobiographical about them growing up in and around the north of Ireland.
Well, and let me quote a good Irishman, and that album was shite. Those albums were shite.
I don't think so.
No,
I think
you're not convincing me. You didn't come prepared. So I think you just so actually let's go back to Where the Streets Have No Name. You know, Brian Eno does the organ intro to that song, right? But it was particularly hard to record, evidently, to the point where Eno became so frustrated with it, he almost destroyed the tapes. But they finally fixed it. They fixed it. And you do have to admit, as much as we've heard it, the moment when that, I guess you could reference it as a juggernaut rhythm, comes in over the organ, Eno's organ, is an iconic opening of a song. It's a great crescendo.
I will tell you, and I get it. There are people out there that dislike you too, and you and I are big fans, and always have been. But I will tell you that I probably listen to Where the Streets Have No Name at least once or twice a week.
Yeah, still a great song.
And as we discovered last week when we were going through our kind of workout playlist, 9 times out of 10 I'll listen to the live version of it.
Yeah, that was interesting that you prefer more live music than
I do.
Studio music, which is interesting. That's cool with me, man. I can't knock that. I'm personally like the traditional studio versions usually, other than songs like Freebird or there's those live versions that are just like Midnight Rambler. The live version of Midnight Rambler is better than the studio version of Midnight Rambler. You can go on. That's actually something we'll talk about maybe next episode.
Do you know what I've never heard? Have you ever heard a live version of Come On Eileen?
I'm just gonna stop right there. Let's do a dramatic.
Have you ever heard a live version of Jump Around?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
I have, yes. Moving on. So throw a song at me. Because I'm going to go slightly back to U2 in a second. But not them particularly.
So I'll go to a band that I thought was going to be a lot bigger than they actually became. They had a couple of hits in the early 90s, and unfortunately, for whatever reason, they just didn't go anywhere. And that's a band called the Hot House Flowers.
Hot House Flowers. They had a big debut. Debut.
Their first 2 records were, relatively popular. The second one, which was called Home, was a big record. It had a couple of hits on it, specifically Give It Up. They did a version of I Can See Clearly Now, the Johnny Nash song that's really very, very good, as well as I think their biggest hit is Movies.
Yeah.
And I loved that band and I was absolutely convinced that these guys were going to be enormous. And after that album, they just were never able to kind of regain the popularity that they enjoyed on that one record. But I will tell you that the song Give It Up and Movies are also 2 songs that are essential on the Calabrese household.
Yeah. St.
Patrick's Day mix.
I believe the Hot House Flowers fell into the category of shoegaze. They were considered what they called in England a shoegaze band, where they would play, but they would look down. Like they weren't really like jumping around the stage. And, they played.
I saw them. I saw Hot House Flowers once. They did not look at their shoes. They were a pretty lively band.
Right. All right. I wasn't a huge fan, but I knew of them, and I know of them. So, Sinead O'Connor, right? I could go with any song from The Lion and the Cobra, but I'm going to go with a song that was on The Lion and the Cobra, but it's not a song that people might know about. But it's a St. Patrick's Day song. It's called "This Is a Rebel Song," right? It's basically a ballad, Irish girl, English guy, the forbidden love type thing, from an Irish girl's perspective. or it's a plea from Ireland begging for attention from England and to basically get the fuck out of Ireland, but and be appreciated by England. But the title, "This Is a Rebel Song," where did you hear that? Where have you heard that phrase?
I'm not sure. I've never heard that phrase before.
You never heard that phrase, right? Yeah.
I think Kevin Rowland used to say that before they used to break into Come On Island.
You sure it wasn't Bono?
Of course it was.
Right. So that was basically a backhanded slight by her to U2 about their apolitical pacifism, as she called it.
Yeah, but
is her Bloody Sunday? Huh?
Is her play on it? Is there her play on it? Wasn't Bono's line always, "This is not a rebel song"?
Yeah. So her thing is, "This is a rebel song." That was the slight. That was the slight.
That's the play on it.
She, Bono had no balls. He didn't want, they were, like she said, the apolitical pacifism about just stand the fuck up for Ireland. Just come out strong and say, "This is a rebel song." Because she basically said, "Oh, they're not? Well, this is, motherfucker. This is a rebel song." And she called them out. And she did not like them. She did not like U2. I'm sure her and Bono might have, had discussion, but she marched to her own drummer. God bless her too. God bless her.
Who did Sinead O'Connor like? She's an edgy girl.
Strong-willed, but mentally challenged that, we found out. You can go on YouTube and YouTube that song, "This Is a Rebel," and you'll see her in a rare video where she has hair. She has all her hair, and it's kind of like, wow, she was a cute kid. She was a cute girl, both with or without. Kind of like Annie Lennox could pull off the short hair and long hair.
When she was younger, she was quite a beautiful woman.
Yeah, she was.
So just a little, Sinead O'Connor, story. I actually got to see her on her very first tour, where she played the Paradise, on that first record, and she was tremendous. But I think that she really hit her stride on her second album, "I Do Not Want What I Haven't Got." And because you brought her up, I think that one of the classic songs played at the Calabrese household on St. Patrick's Day is "I Am Stretched on Your Grave," which is pretty amazing tune.
I'm a big second album guy, as you know. Like, I always seem to like second albums better than first albums. But that, if you go, and we've done this with Van Halen, we've done this with the Cars. If you go track for track on The Lion and the Cobra and her second album, there's no comparison. The Lion and the Cobra is an instant classic from start to finish.
I love that album. But this second one had, "Feel So Different," "I'm Stretched on Your Grave," 3 Babies, "Black Boys on Mopeds," "Nothing Compares to You," "Jump in the River," "Last Day of Our Acquaintance." There's a lot of hits on that for her. That's really where she hit her stride. And again, to your point and to what we had actually talked about before, The Lion and the Cobra, she had a decade to write that? It was
you can write it, but to get it produced and get it done, it came out. She didn't record it for 10 years.
No. My point is a lot of bands suffer what they call the sophomore slump, because the first record that they put out is a culmination of years of work, right? And then the second album is probably prompted by pressure from the record company. Okay, you had some success with the first record. You got to get the second one out. So
Look,
the first album,
I like her, but if it wasn't for Prince, that second album wouldn't have been as popular as it was.
I disagree with that. I think that there's some pretty strong stuff on that.
Give me another hit, because usually if there's 2 hits on an album, they want to maximize the publicity on it, so there would be a second song released.
So I think the first single on it, or maybe it was the second single, was "The Emperor's New Clothes," which was a pretty popular song.
And I think more people have listened to "Top of the Morning to You" by House of Pain than "The Emperor's New Clothes." I'm only kidding. I'm kidding. Hey, interruption. Let's interrupt the show. Scott, the IT guy, is in Florida. Let me guess. He's in northern Florida, because they all stop, and that's fine with me. They all stop up north, Orlando, Tampa, and that's fine with me. So Scott, the IT guy, what part of Florida are you in?
Wait a
Anyways,
minute.
moving
Isn't Orlando and Tampa? That's Central Florida, isn't it?
Well, no, they're north. They're north. They're north of me. I'm in South Florida.
He's in Tampa.
Anything central and north is, whatever. It's
Yeah,
north of me.
You've seen what Scott Locke looks like. Hey, Scott, make sure you put on plenty of sunscreen down there.
I knew it. Tampa, of course. They all, and that's fine. That's fine. If you ask me, Tampa, Orlando, all those places are as generic as they come. But anyways, nothing has the flavor of South Florida. So give me a song, buddy boy.
Right. So I'm going to go to, he's absolutely positively Irish in a lot of different ways. But you got to give a nod to Van Morrison and, a lot of the work that he's done. Are you a fan by any chance?
Not a huge fan, but I don't dislike him. So he's not in the Santana, Bob Dylan, Green Day category, but in Jethro Tull.
You can pick a bunch of Van Morrison songs, whether it's Moondance or Tupelo Honey or Jackie Wilson said, but one of his. Yeah, one of his lesser known songs, but again, I think that Van Morrison kind of comes into that category. Like a lot of the songs that we just listed, although performed and written a lot of the times by an Irish performer, an Irish songwriter, those songs aren't necessarily Irish sounding, at least not to me. But there's a song on an album called The Healing Game, or maybe it's the record that's before that, called Piper at the Gates of Dawn. That it's a slow tune, but again, kind of penny whistle and, some of the other traditional Irish folk music instruments that are playing on it that I just absolutely love.
Yeah. I'm not familiar with it. Like I said, I'm not a huge Van Morrison fan, so I don't go deep cuts with him, but I do fucking turn off Brown Eyed Girl every time it comes on. That is a song that, we've discussed this so many times. The songs that are gone, they're there, then they're gone, and then all of a sudden they make this little resurgence in your life. And I think you said Freebird has not made that resurgence yet. No, Sweet Home Alabama. Sweet Home Alabama has not made that resurgence for you. Brown Eyed Girl has not made a comeback in my head. It's not only bad enough that it's on the radio every 15 fucking minutes, but every bar band in the world plays it. Yeah.
Especially if you're walking along the boardwalk in Tampa.
Or St. Pete, either one, because they say Tampa, St. Pete. They're so cheesy, they have to kind of, hey, let's just piggyback off each other, Not like Boca. Boca Raton is Boca Raton, but then you get Del Rey that's above it and borders it, and it was Del Rey until they started building right on the border of Boca Raton, and they wanted to capitalize, so they called it Boca Del Rey. It's like, are you serious? That's like Tampa, St. Pete. It's. My brother used to live in St. Pete. St. Pete Beach is pretty cool.
Are you telling me there's not one unit available in all of Del Boca Vista?
I'm gonna run for the what is it, the Housing Association, Homeowners Association. I want to be president. Let's go with big mega hit from 1994, The Cranberries' Zombie. Big rebel song, big protest song. Did you know?
Well, go ahead.
It's one of the most popular videos in the history of YouTube.
Oh, I believe that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's compelling.
Hundreds of millions of views.
Yeah. So here's my argument. I think it's a great song. I think they were a great band, and a tragic end.
Dolores.
What's her name?
Dolores O'Riordan. She was so fucking cool. Like, she was like this little tough little Irish imp, I said this before. That was kind of heartbreaking when I heard that she died. It's just, what the fuck?
Yeah. But I will tell you that for me, and this is just personal taste,
Yeah, yeah.
you know, while I think that song is a good song, it doesn't make my St. Patrick's Day playlist because it's kind of a downer.
Hey, listen, you with your tanks and your bombs and your guns, okay? Just relax.
And their tanks and their bombs
Yeah,
and their bombs and their bombs.
Yeah, and their
and some more
guns
bombs.
Yeah,
And
listen,
their
zombie. Listen, zombie. Well, you know, and that's the thing about St. Patrick's Day. Not all the songs have to be celebratory, and I mean, you can go. I got some songs here that are kind of low, very low key. Like it's a St. Patrick's Day, and a real St. Patrick's Day is a roller coaster ride of
that
songs.
song. Not that song. Not for me.
I like it.
It's a little too much of a drone. I like the song. I truly do.
I think it's more representative that they're from Ireland that you hear. You know, but it is a protest song, and
yeah, I mean,
you're not a good Irishman, so you don't appreciate it.
Yeah, I would more likely put on Dreams or Linger or something like that.
Any protest songs from Italy?
We're too busy eating.
Any good protest? See, that's why we're always protesting. We're fucking sick of the bland vegetables that we have to eat. Eating potatoes out of the dirt. Then eventually we were eating grass. Hey, listen, the Irish people were fucking severely suppressed. I mean, brutally suppressed. They were starved. Millions died during the potato famine. Brutal.
See, now this is your verbal version of zombie. You're bringing our audience down.
This is a protest song.
Everybody's depressed. So don't be so angry because when you were growing up, the contents of your spice rack consisted of salt.
Hey, I've told you this a number of times. You know, growing up Irish Catholic in Boston, and my father, heavy into the Irish ways, and he had this friend. My father was a photographer. He had this friend of his. His name was Father Sean McManus, and Father Sean McManus was a priest in the Catholic Church. He might have been at the Mission Hill Church, I think, which is an amazing structure. If you've ever seen it, and the Queen of England was coming to Boston, back in like 75, maybe, right? So Father Sean was also a heavy IRA supporter, right? And he came, and there was this big, it was like kind of a motorcade type situation where people were lined the streets to watch the Queen of England drive by. And he was there with all the protesters, and they didn't know when she was coming or where she was coming. So they sent me as a plant in the crowd. Like, I'm like 13, 14, and just my father was like, go down there and go around, and if you see them coming, run back and let us know. Right? Now, he wasn't part of the protest. He's a photographer. So this shit to him was gold.
Yeah, content.
Fucking gold. Yeah.
Content. Target-rich environment.
Yeah, and he was just sitting back and waiting for the shit. And here comes the motorcade, and here comes little Scotty McLean running his little white Irish ass down the street. They're coming. She's coming. She's coming. Oh, and Father Sean and the protesters lit up like fucking a Christmas tree. And it was just chaos for about, 30 seconds. It was just this mad, and it was England get out of Ireland and the whole thing. And then
dude, you ratted out the Queen, you bastard.
Screw her. Anyways, then I know we just lost one English viewer, I'm sure. And then fast forward to my brother Colin introducing me to the IRA freedom fighter sweatshirts and T-shirts and hats that were being sold in South Boston, and all proceeds went to buying guns for the IRA. So we had our wardrobe. We would gladly buy that paraphernalia back in the 80s for the Troubles. We were supporting the Troubles, over there. So I have a little history. But the funny thing is, when I was in the military, I never Never talked about that. When I was in customs, I very rarely talked about that.
Is there a reason why you didn't talk about
the
that?
IRA was a terrorist organization. What am I going to say? Yeah, I supported the IRA. Yeah, you're fired.
I don't know. I don't know if you technically supported the IRA. You bought a sweatshirt and a hat.
More than that. Let's leave it at that.
I don't want to know.
I don't want to know. So, wherever that took us, wherever that went. So, give me a song.
So
my radical youth. My radical youth.
I think that this is a very Irish song performed by a very American performer. A lot of people may not know him, but you may know the song. This is a song by Steve Earle, and the song is called Galway Girl. Fantastic tune, and featured in a number of different movies, mostly Irish movies. But if you are looking for something to put on your playlist to get the crowd up and moving, take Zombie off of your list and put on Galway Girl.
All right, let's see. Hold on.
You got it?
By who does it?
Steve Earle.
I got Ed Sheeran.
That's a different song.
Steve Earle. Here we go. Let's pull this one up. There we go. Let's play it.
Got a little bow ran in there.
A lot of bluegrass undertones there. I like that. That has has some country undertones,
like
some bluegrass.
Appalachian.
Well, as we said last year, as we know, and I said last year, the Appalachians was where the Irish first settled, actually.
But listen to that.
Oh yeah, no doubt. It's got all the makings. Yeah.
There he was from Northern Ireland. No, he was born in Virginia.
Here you go. Well, Appalachians, right? That's
Yep.
You got the Appalachian Trail is up there in Virginia.
Thank you for playing that. Now people kind of understand. I get it. Groovy.
Yeah, no. That's, listen, I am in. If there's ever a song that we're talking about, you say play it. I'll try to find it. Okay. Again, we might get screwed down the line for that, but I don't care. We got plenty. And I think this is episode 40, 48 or 49. We're coming up on 50 episodes, buddy.
Woo, baby.
So let's go back to the Pogues. If you watch this video, my God, Shane McGowan was an ugly motherfucker. God damn. That fucking teeth make the dude from the Goonies look like fucking Johnny Depp or
like one of the Osmonds.
Holy shit. Yeah, good, yeah. Hey, that dude, like his grill was fucking three-dimensional. Like I think he had one tooth that was almost sticking out. Like, and there's a gap between each tooth. It's like, what, Shane? Then you got the big black dot. You know what that is? The big black rot is more like it, right?
But here's the thing that's confusing about that. It's not like he didn't have the money to fix him.
Yeah, that English grill thing. It's just I never understood that.
He had tough teeth. I mean, come on. Even Keith Richards in the early 70s spent money and got himself new teeth.
I think he just really didn't care. He didn't. So here we go. Let's play a little of this. Let's see. Dirty Old Town is the name of it.
Mm-hmm. By the gasworks wall, dreamed a dream by the old canal.
There you go. That's a drinking song.
That's a drinking song.
That's a sound. That's a drink. So this actually the thing behind that's a song that was written in 1949, was made famous by the Dubliners,
Yep.
and then the Pogues did it. That's the song. Now that's referencing the old factories back in Salford, England, I believe. Salford, England, and there's a lot of references to, and it's like British terminology, Irish terminology, but actually the Salford City Football Club uses that as their walk-on song.
It's a great tune.
Yeah.
Great tune. Actually, but talking about, I think we had the good fortune to see U2 at the old Boston Gardens on St. Patrick's Day. And Larry Mullen Jr. came out and sang that song, which was kind of different. And I have to admit that there's probably a good 50 or 60% of the audience that had no idea what he was doing.
Yeah.
But
While I was overseas defending our country. You were
God!
seeing U2 at the.
Yeah. Thank you for your service.
Freedom. You were enjoying your freedom.
Blah blah blah. Almost every episode we get this sob story about how you got screwed out of concerts from 1986 to 1989 because you were defending my freedom. Oh yeah, Jack, you got to go see U2 at the Garden at 92, and
I was patrolling the bush with a patrol dog that was just spitting mad.
Blah blah blah.
I was patrolling the bush in the Philippines with a land shark at the end of a 6-foot leash.
Yeah,
looking
at ghosts and
looking to bite something. Yeah, ain't ghosts. I saw a ghost. All right.
God, hey, look, I have a real respect and appreciation for what you did, but come on, every other episode, blah blah blah.
Okay, give me another song.
So here's another Irish band that probably not very well known for singing traditional Irish songs, but Stiff Little Fingers, one of the great Irish punk
we talked about them last. They were like the original Irish punk band. They were like right in the mix at the beginning.
If you have any appreciation for Green Day, listen to Stiff Little Fingers and you realize how much they stole from that band.
Yeah, well, that's why they suck, Green Day.
So can you
they
play
stole from the Ramones too?
Can you play a couple of seconds of Alternative Ulster?
All right, let's see.
Alternative Ulster. If you go to like Spotify, undoubtedly.
Hey, let me do. I'm an Amazon guy.
Okay.
Alternative.
All right. Amazon. I remember toting a gun in the Amazon while you were drinking booze.
That's right. Shut up.
Smoking dope with your friends.
There we go. Playing the song. Stiff Little Fingers.
Stiff Little Fingers.
Alternative Ulster. There's nothing for us in Belfast. There you go.
Great song.
Yeah, the Ulster is the Protestants.
Great song.
Yeah. Good call, buddy.
Something a little different, you know?
Yeah. Like I said, we did talk about them on our last year's Irish Music in America is the name of the episode. So we have listen, this has become a St. Patrick's Day classic, and as it should be, and as it will always be. It's a song that might have been slightly overplayed since its release some years back, but I'm shipping up to Boston. Dropkick Murphys. It's still a great song. I mean, you want to get the crowd pumping. That's a song right there that'll get the crowd pumping.
So well placed in The Departed.
Yeah,
Great use of that song. And I still go back, and I apologize if I've told this story before, but Miss Deb and I went to, after the bombing at the Boston Marathon, some months after, they did a benefit concert to raise money for the families and the people that were injured in that terrible tragedy. And I will never ever forget the image of the Dropkick Murphys singing that song and talking about shipping off to Boston to retrieve my wooden leg. And literally in the first row of the Boston Gardens, where there were, maybe a half dozen, maybe more of the victims that had their legs mangled or amputated or whatnot. It was just a bizarre.
But they were dancing.
Oh yeah.
They were dancing. They were.
Yeah, it was just. I would say, they came on and they performed, and I was like, "There's no way they're going to do that."
It almost gives cred. It almost gives street cred.
Yeah,
my brother Colin has that. He never had a wooden leg, but he's not.
I guess in some regard it kind of shows the grit and the fortitude of the people of Boston. Like, fuck it.
Yeah.
God, play the goddamn
song.
song.
This is our fucking town.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, like I said, when they came on and they played, I was like, there's no way they're going to play that song. No way. And they played it. I was like, I can't believe they're doing it. But it was fantastic. And of course, the place went absolutely apeshit.
Yeah. All right. We can start wrapping this up. I have like Birdie's song from Black 47. That's a pretty pumping song.
Yeah.
Danny Boy, of course. Amanda did a great job if you listen to the beginning of the episode. That's always a heart wrencher. It's common at most every police funeral.
Yeah. You know what? You and I didn't really touch upon a lot of the bands that should be played on St. Patrick's Day. So whether it's the Chieftains or the Dubliners,
the Dubliners,
Tommy Makem, like a lot of that traditional stuff. I just absolutely love. And where did I learn to appreciate that music?
From me.
No. Although you may have been with me.
No,
absolutely not, Tal. I learned all that.
Phil
music
Kelly. We have to do a Phil Kelly reference this episode. Phil Kelly.
Could have been Phil Kelly. No, most of it was in the bars of South Boston, and probably more so in the bars of Faneuil Hall.
The Midnight Court was our place to go. The Black Rose, the Purple Shamrock, they're all touristy. If you were in the Midnight Court, you were amongst the privileged and the entire immigrant waiter staff, bartender staff. The highest. At one point, it might still be that way, the highest rate of illegal immigrants from Ireland was in Boston.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. Look, I spent a couple of summers living on Cape Cod, and I worked on, a rough and tumble painting crew, and 80% of it were, guys and gals that had come over from Ireland just looking to accumulate money for school or whatever it was. The employment issue in Ireland back in the early 80s was horrible. So Cape Cod was loaded with people that were looking to make money, and a bunch of them that somehow managed to stay.
Yeah. Danny Boy, actually, some say Danny Boy is about a son going off to war and his mom talking to him. For others, it resonates for members of the Irish. It's called diaspora, which is or displaced from their own country. The immigrants that came over to the United States that left Ireland, and Danny Boy is basically a song for them to say, I'm coming. Ireland's saying, come home.
Yeah.
There's millions left,
Yeah, sure.
So Danny Boy some people will take it as that's a reference to that. Ireland calling its people home.
Yeah. Hey, remind me.
What of?
Did you-
on this day?
No, did in a previous episode of our beloved podcast, did you ever bring up the band the Rumjacks?
I didn't. Not that I
Okay.
can recall. No, I would remember that. Yeah.
They have a great St. Patrick's Day song called An Irish Pub.
Okay.
Fantastic song, but when I was listening to it, I was like, I think that Scott had brought that up. But the Irish
sure.
Pub song, that's a good song that you should check out as well.
All right. Excellent. So let's get to Jack's favorite part of the show. And we can wrap this up. This day in music. There you go. That's right, buddy. If you can't beat it, join it. On this day in 1964, the Beatles set a new record for advanced sales in the U.S. with 2,100,000 copies of their latest single, Can't Buy Me Love. When pressed by American journalists in 1966 to reveal the song's true meaning, Paul McCartney stated, I think you can put any interpretation you want on anything, but when someone suggests that Can't Buy Me Love is about a prostitute, I draw the line right there. On this day in 1965, the Rolling Stones were #1 on the UK singles chart with The Last Time, the band's third UK #1, first #1 for songwriters Jagger and Richards. On this day in 1968, the posthumously released Otis Redding single, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay, started a 5-week run at #1 on the U.S. charts. #3 hit in the UK. Otis was killed in a plane crash on December 10th, 1967. 3 days after recording the song, Sitting on the Dock of the Bay became the first posthumous #1 single in U.S. chart history. And actually, I think I've said this before. The song Sitting on the Dock of the Bay was written in Sausalito. I love Sausalito, California. I loved it when I was there about 15, 20 years ago. But Sausalito was where that was written, not in San Francisco, on the San Francisco Bay. He was looking at San Francisco.
And also remember, the big trivia about that particular song is the whistling part at the end was actually meant to be a placeholder. That wasn't supposed to be in the final version of the song.
That's a good producer right there that put that in and said, hey, this works. That's
Yep.
a good producer.
Absolutely.
It was a sad day on this day in 1970. Motown singer Tammy Terrell died of a brain tumor at the age of 24. She had collapsed on stage on October 14th, 1967, into Marvin Gaye's arms during a concert in Hampton, Virginia. How sad is that?
Pretty damn sad.
24. Wow. Ain't no mountain high enough, right?
Yep. She's on that.
Her and Marvin.
Yep.
24, and to collapse on stage and Marvin have to deal. That must have been devastating to him.
He had kind of a tough run, man.
He did.
Some
he
of
did, but
some of it self-inflicted.
yeah, I think a lot of singers do, though. A lot of artists do. On this day in 1971, winners at this year's Grammy Awards included Simon and Garfunkel, who won Record of the Year, Song of the Year, and Album of the Year for. You're not even listening to me. You
No, it was Bridge Over Troubled
There
Water.
you go. You're not even listening to me. He's not even listening to me. The Carpenters won Best New Act and Best Vocal Performance for Close to You. There we go. On this day in 1972, John Lennon lodged an appeal with the U.S. Immigration Office in New York after he was served with deportation orders arising from his 1968 cannabis possession conviction. Yeah, that was pothead. That pothead. We'll get rid of him.
Hoover.
This shit's crazy right here.
Hoover didn't like him. He thought he was a troublemaker, stirring up people about the war.
This shit's crazy right here. On this day in 1992, during a Metallica gig at Orlando Arena, fans dangled an Usher by his ankles from the balcony as trouble broke out at the concert. What the fuck? That's like a mob movie.
Where were you on that evening, Scott?
I wasn't in Orlando. Hey, Scott Locke's there. Maybe he's reliving it. No, he wasn't old enough. He was just a little Chuck back then. Let's see. On this day in 2010, ABBA were inducted into the U.S. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame along with Genesis, the Hollies, ABBA's Benny Andersson and Annie Fried Langsta accepted their trophies in New York. On this day,
Hey, if ABBA can be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, so can Dolly Parton.
hey, yeah. That's why it's just the Music Hall of Fame. On this day in 2019, it was a sad day. American rock guitarist, I say legend, Dick Dale died of heart failure at the age of 81. He was known as the king of the surf guitar. Yeah, that guy's a legend. You can't put any other title next to legend, guitar legend. All right, Jack, we're almost done, buddy. Born on this day in 1954, American musician, singer, songwriter Nancy Wilson of Heart. And born on this day in 1959, yeah, boy!
Flavor Flav!
Flavor Flav of Public Enemy was born. And Jackie boy, that's our St. Patrick's Day show. I am eager for some corned beef and cabbage.
So is it all marinating as we speak?
Oh, I'm going to start that tonight. I'm going to start it after the show.
I think tomorrow I'm probably going to have, I don't know, maybe a little veal parm.
There you go. That's
Nice
always
glass of
good.
wine. Yeah, it's all good.
All
Hey, look, I appreciate a good corned beef and cabbage. Maybe this weekend.
All right. Pressure cooking. That's the way you do
Maybe
it.
this weekend I'll send pictures. I sent pictures of the eggplant parm last week.
Yeah, that was good. You did a great job with that. Cooking for an army, buddy. I love that.
Dude, I'll tell you, it's great, but it's a pain in the ass to make.
You love the process, though.
Yes,
Love
I
the
do. The
process.
process.
Well, everybody, thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. Like I said at the beginning of the show, if you want to get in touch with us, email us at milkcratesandturntables@gmail.com. If you want to see the live stream, go to the YouTube channel, Milk Crates and Turntables. We have all the past episodes on there. And if you like it, share it. If you like it, tell a friend about it who likes music. This is more than just a music podcast. It's real entertainment, some people say. So
Which person said that? Who is he?
Yeah, right. So anyways, all right, everybody, we will see you next week. You will hear us next week. And like I always say, you guys are the engine that drive this machine. Without you, it would just be me talking to Jack and doing this podcast for you. To quote my favorite artist, Morrissey, the pleasure, the privilege is mine and Jack's. And we will talk to you next week. Say bye,
Bye,
Jack.
Scotty. Goodbye,
Happy
all.
St.